In the heart of Staten Island, New York, during the late 1970s, a young boy named Corey Woods was growing up in a world that was tough, raw, and unforgiving. The streets were a battleground, and survival meant navigating a maze of challenges, from poverty to crime. But amid the chaos, there was also a rich cultural undercurrent, a pulse that would eventually give birth to one of the most influential hip-hop artists of all time. Corey Woods, better known today as Raekwon, was born on January 12, 1970. Staten Island, often called Shaolin in hip-hop circles, was a place where dreams were hard to come by, but music offered a way out. Raekwon's early life was shaped by the struggles of his community. He grew up in the Park Hill Projects, a place where poverty was a daily reality, and the future often seemed bleak. But it was also a place rich in culture, where stories were told through music, and where the emerging sound of hip-hop provided a voice to the voiceless. Raekwon's family life was far from perfect. Like many in his neighborhood, his family faced financial hardships, and the streets were always calling. Despite these challenges, young Corey found solace in music. The beats and rhythms of hip-hop were a constant presence, echoing through the streets, booming from boomboxes and blasting out of car stereos. It was in this environment that Raekwon began to develop his love for music. By the time he was a teenager, hip-hop had begun to take over New York City. The genre was still in its infancy, but it was rapidly growing, fueled by the energy of the streets. For Raekwon, hip-hop wasn't just music, it was a lifeline. He saw in it a way to express the struggles, dreams, and realities of his life and those around him. Influenced by the raw, gritty storytelling of early hip-hop pioneers like Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and Kool G Rap, Raekwon started to see the power that words could hold. Raekwon's first exposure to the world of rapping came through freestyling with friends. These impromptu sessions were more than just fun, they were a way to hone his craft, to learn the art of storytelling through rhyme. The streets were his classroom, and the lessons he learned there would stay with him throughout his career. He wasn't just rapping for the sake of it, he was telling the stories of his life, his friends, and his community. As he grew older, Raekwon became more serious about pursuing a career in music. He started to gain recognition in the local scene, known for his sharp lyrics and unique delivery. His style was gritty and authentic, a reflection of his environment. He didn't sugarcoat his experiences, instead he laid them bare for the world to see. This authenticity would become one of his trademarks, setting him apart in an industry that was increasingly focused on commercial success. But it wasn't just his lyrical prowess that set Raekwon apart. It was his ability to create vivid, cinematic narratives through his music. Even in his early years, Raekwon had a talent for painting pictures with his words, drawing listeners into the world he knew so well. His rhymes were filled with the imagery of the streets, capturing the essence of life in Staten Island in a way that was both raw and poetic. During this time, Raekwon wasn't alone in his journey. Staten Island was home to a growing number of talented young artists who, like him, were looking for a way out. Among them were future members of what would become one of the most legendary groups in hip-hop history, the Wu-Tang Clan. The bonds formed in these early years would prove to be crucial, as these young artists would soon come together to create something that would change the face of hip-hop forever. Raekwon's early experiences in Staten Island laid the foundation for his future success. The challenges he faced, the lessons he learned, and the culture that surrounded him all played a role in shaping the artist he would become. It was a tough environment, but it was also one that nurtured creativity and resilience. Raekwon's story is one of survival, of finding beauty in the struggle, and of turning the harsh realities of life into art. As the 1980s came to a close, Raekwon was ready to take his place in the world of hip-hop. He had the talent, the drive, and the stories to tell. All he needed was the right opportunity, and it would come in the form of a group that would revolutionize the genre. This was just the beginning of Raekwon's journey. The streets of Staten Island had shaped him, but it was his passion for music that would define him. With his roots firmly planted in the gritty reality of his upbringing, Raekwon was poised to become one of the most influential voices in hip-hop. As the 1990s dawned, hip-hop was rapidly evolving. The genre that had once been a niche subculture was now a dominant force in music, and New York City was at its epicenter. Within this vibrant scene, a group of young men from Staten Island and Brooklyn were about to come together to form one of the most influential collectives in the history of hip-hop. At the heart of this movement was Corey Woods, who would soon be known to the world as Raekwon the Chef. The story of the Wu-Tang Clan's formation is one of fate and shared vision. Raekwon, along with a group of like-minded artists, was drawn together by a mutual love for hip-hop and a desire to create something that transcended the ordinary. They didn't just want to make music, they wanted to build a legacy. The mastermind behind this vision was Robert Diggs, better known as RZA, who brought together the members of what would become the Wu-Tang Clan. RZA had a plan, a 5-year strategy to take over the hip-hop world. He envisioned a group that was more than just a rap collective. It would be a brand, a movement, and a family. Each member would have their own distinct style and personality, but together they would create something far greater than the sum of its parts. This idea resonated with Raekwon, who saw in RZA's vision a path to greatness. The initial lineup of the Wu-Tang Clan included RZA, GZA, Old Dirty Bastard, Method Man, Ghostface Killah, Inspector Deck, You God, Master Killer, and of course Raekwon. Each member brought their own unique flavor to the group, but it was Raekwon's gritty, streetwise lyricism that would help define the group's sound. His ability to weave intricate stories of street life and survival set him apart, earning him the nickname The Chef for his skill in cooking up vivid rhymes. In 1992, the Wu-Tang Clan released their debut single, Protect Ya Neck. The track was a raw, unfiltered introduction to the world, showcasing the group's unique sound, a blend of hardcore beats, martial arts-inspired imagery, and razor-sharp lyrics. Raekwon's verse on the track was a standout, delivering his lines with a precision and intensity that left a lasting impression. The song was a success, quickly gaining traction in the underground scene and setting the stage for their debut album. The following year, in 1993, the Wu-Tang Clan released Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, an album that would forever change the landscape of hip-hop. The album was a tour de force, combining gritty, lo-fi production with some of the most innovative and memorable verses ever recorded. It was a raw, unapologetic reflection of the group's environment, Staten Island streets, and it resonated deeply with listeners. Raekwon played a crucial role in the creation of 36 Chambers. His verses were some of the most memorable on the album, particularly on tracks like CREAM and Can It Be All So Simple on CREAM. Cash rules everything around me. Raekwon delivered a verse that perfectly encapsulated the struggle of growing up in poverty, with lines that would become iconic. I grew up on the crime side. The New York Times side, staying alive was no jive. His storytelling ability was on full display, painting a vivid picture of life in the projects, where survival often depended on making hard choices. Can It Be All So Simple was another standout track, with Raekwon reflecting on the challenges of life before the fame. The song's soulful beat and nostalgic tone provided the perfect backdrop for Raekwon's introspective lyrics. It was this ability to balance raw street tales with moments of reflection that made Raekwon such a compelling figure within the group. The success of Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers was unprecedented. The album didn't just launch the Wu-Tang Clan into the spotlight, it redefined what hip-hop could be. It proved that music from the streets could resonate on a global scale, and it introduced a new level of artistry to the genre. For Raekwon, the success of the album was a validation of his talent and his journey. He had gone from freestyling on the streets of Staten Island to being a key member of one of the most important groups in music history. But 36 Chambers was just the beginning. The album's success opened the door for each member of the Wu-Tang Clan to pursue solo projects, and Raekwon was eager to step into the spotlight on his own. He had a vision for his solo work that would take the gritty cinematic storytelling he had honed with Wu-Tang to new heights. With the backing of his crew and the lessons he had learned from their collective success, Raekwon was ready to embark on the next chapter of his career. This chapter of Raekwon's story is not just about the formation of a group, it's about the birth of a movement. The Wu-Tang Clan wasn't just a collective of rappers, it was a brotherhood, a brand, and a revolution in hip-hop. And at the center of it all was Raekwon, whose contributions helped shape the sound and vision of a group that would go on to influence generations of artists. As the Wu-Tang Clan's influence spread, so too did the anticipation for what Raekwon would do next. The world was watching, and Raekwon was ready to deliver. By the mid-1990s, the Wu-Tang Clan had firmly established itself as a powerhouse in the world of hip-hop. The success of Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers had opened the door for its members to branch out and pursue solo careers, and Raekwon was eager to take that step. He had already made a name for himself with his sharp lyricism and vivid storytelling, but now he wanted to create something that would solidify his place in hip-hop history, a project that would showcase his unique vision and artistic prowess. Raekwon's solo debut, Only Built for Cuban Links was more than just an album, it was a cinematic masterpiece, a conceptual work that redefined the genre and set a new standard for storytelling in hip-hop. Released in August 1995, the album was a bold, ambitious project that captured the imagination of listeners and critics alike. It wasn't just about rapping, it was about creating an immersive experience, one that transported listeners into the world of the mafioso lifestyle, where the lines between crime and survival were blurred. From the outset, Raekwon had a clear vision for Only Built for Cuban Links. He wanted to create an album that was both gritty and sophisticated, one that combined the rawness of the streets with the allure of the gangster lifestyle. To achieve this, he enlisted the help of his close friend and fellow Wu-Tang member, Ghostface Killah. The two had a natural chemistry, and their collaboration would prove to be one of the most iconic partnerships in hip-hop history. The album was produced by RZA, who once again demonstrated his genius behind the boards. RZA's production on Only Built for Cuban Links was dark, atmospheric, and cinematic, perfectly complementing Raekwon's intricate narratives. The beats were layered with samples from old soul and jazz records, creating a sound that was both nostalgic and forward-thinking. This fusion of styles helped to establish the album's distinct aesthetic, one that would influence countless artists in the years to come. Only Built for Cuban Links was structured like a movie, with Raekwon and Ghostface Killah playing the roles of streetwise hustlers navigating the dangerous world of crime. The album was filled with references to the mafia, with Raekwon adopting the moniker Lex Diamonds, and Ghostface taking on the alias Tony Starks. This thematic approach was groundbreaking at the time, as it brought a new level of sophistication and narrative depth to hip-hop. The album's intro set the tone with a dialogue that sounded like it was lifted straight from a gangster film. From there, the listener was taken on a journey through the highs and lows of the street life, with Raekwon and Ghostface serving as the guides. The album's lead single, Criminology, exemplified this approach, with its haunting production and hard-hitting lyrics. Raekwon and Ghostface traded verses with a seamless flow, each line painting a vivid picture of the world they inhabited. Another standout track was Ice Cream, which, despite its seemingly playful title, was a celebration of the allure and power of women in the street culture. The song featured a catchy hook sung by Method Man, another Wu-Tang member, and became one of the album's most commercially successful singles. However, it was the deeper cuts, like Verbal Intercourse featuring Nas and Incarcerated Scarfaces, that showcased Raekwon's lyrical prowess and the album's thematic depth. Verbal Intercourse was particularly notable for its guest verse from Nas, who at the time was one of the most respected lyricists in hip-hop. The collaboration was a meeting of the minds, with Raekwon, Ghostface, and Nas delivering some of the most powerful verses of their careers. The song's introspective lyrics and somber tone made it a standout moment on the album, highlighting the darker side of the street life. Incarcerated Scarfaces, on the other hand, was a pure showcase of Raekwon's storytelling ability. Over a menacing beat, Raekwon delivered a vivid account of the struggles and dangers of life in the projects. His delivery was confident and intense, capturing the listener's attention from the first word to the last. The song became one of the album's most iconic tracks, solidifying Raekwon's reputation as a master storyteller. The impact of Only Built for Cuban Links was immediate and far-reaching. The album was praised by critics for its innovative approach and its flawless execution. It was a commercial success, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard 200 chart, and it quickly became a favorite among hip-hop fans. But more importantly, it influenced a generation of artists who were inspired by Raekwon's ability to create a cohesive, cinematic experience through his music. The album's influence can be seen in the works of many artists who followed, from Jay-Z to Nas to the notorious B.I.G. Raekwon's use of mafioso themes and his focus on storytelling helped to popularize a new subgenre within hip-hop, one that combined the grit of the streets with the glamour of the gangster lifestyle. This approach would go on to shape the sound and style of East Coast hip-hop for years to come. Only Built for Cuban Links was more than just an album, it was a statement. It was Raekwon's declaration that he was not just a member of the Wu-Tang Clan, but an artist in his own right, with a vision and voice that was uniquely his. The album's success established him as one of the most important figures in hip-hop, and it remains a classic to this day. As Raekwon's star continued to rise, he remained focused on his craft, always pushing himself to innovate and evolve. The success of Only Built for Cuban Links was a major milestone in his career, but it was just the beginning. Raekwon was determined to continue making music that was not only true to his roots but also pushed the boundaries of what hip-hop could be. The release of Only Built for Cuban Links marked a high point in Raekwon's career, but with success came new challenges. The music industry in the late 1990s was rapidly changing, and the pressure to replicate his earlier triumphs weighed heavily on him. As Raekwon navigated this new landscape, he found himself grappling with both personal and professional struggles, all while trying to maintain the integrity of his artistry. After the massive success of his debut album, expectations for Raekwon's follow-up were sky high. Fans and critics alike were eager to see how he would evolve his sound and whether he could deliver another classic. However, the pressure to top Only Built for Cuban Links was immense, and Raekwon knew that anything less than perfection would be scrutinized. In 1999, Raekwon released his sophomore album, Immobility. Unlike his debut, this album did not feature production from RZA, which marked a significant shift in his sound. Instead, Raekwon chose to work with a variety of other producers, hoping to explore new directions and expand his musical horizons. Despite this, Immobility received mixed reviews. While some praised Raekwon's lyricism and storytelling, others felt that the album lacked the cohesive vision and sonic consistency that had made his debut so groundbreaking. Immobility was a commercial success, debuting at number 9 on the Billboard 200, but it did not achieve the same level of critical acclaim as Only Built for Cuban Links. This reception was a bitter pill for Raekwon, who had poured his heart into the project. The album's lukewarm reception highlighted the difficulties artists often face when trying to innovate while maintaining the essence of what made them successful in the first place. Despite these challenges, Raekwon remained undeterred. He continued to contribute to the Wu-Tang Clan's collective projects, maintaining his loyalty to the group that had propelled him to stardom. The Wu-Tang Clan's influence on hip-hop was still strong, and Raekwon's contributions were essential to the group's ongoing success. He played a pivotal role in the making of the group's third studio album, the W2000, which was well received and helped to re-establish the Clan's dominance in the rap game. During this period, Raekwon also faced personal struggles. The demands of the music industry, coupled with the pressure to live up to his own high standards, took a toll on his mental and emotional well-being. The lifestyle that came with fame, constant touring, media attention, and the relentless pace of the industry was exhausting. Like many artists in his position, Raekwon found it difficult to balance his personal life with the demands of his career. However, these challenges only strengthened Raekwon's resolve. He understood that the ups and downs of his journey were part of the process, and he used these experiences as fuel for his music. Rather than succumbing to the pressures, Raekwon channeled his struggles into his art, continuing to write and record music that was honest, reflective, and true to his experiences. In 2003, Raekwon released his third solo album, The Lex Diamond Story. The album was another attempt to push his creative boundaries, with a concept centered around his mafioso alter ego, Lex Diamonds. However, much like Immobility, the album received mixed reviews. Some appreciated Raekwon's storytelling and the cinematic quality of the album, while others felt it didn't quite capture the magic of his earlier work. Despite the challenges he faced with his solo projects, Raekwon's contributions to the Wu-Tang Clan remained vital. The group continued to release music and tour, and their legacy as one of the greatest hip-hop collectors of all time was cemented. Raekwon's loyalty to the group never wavered, even as he faced criticism for his solo work. He understood that the Wu-Tang Clan was more than just a group, it was a brotherhood, and their collective strength was what made them so influential. As the 2000s progressed, the music industry underwent significant changes. The rise of digital music and the decline of traditional record sales presented new challenges for artists. Raekwon, like many of his peers, had to adapt to this new reality. But through it all, he remained focused on his craft, determined to stay true to his roots while evolving with the times. In 2009, Raekwon returned to the spotlight with Only Built for Cuban Links, PT, a direct sequel to his classic debut. This album was a return to form for Raekwon, reuniting him with RZA and Ghostface Killah and recapturing the gritty cinematic feel that had made the original so beloved. The album was met with widespread critical acclaim and was hailed as a worthy successor to the original Cuban Links. For many fans, it was the album they had been waiting for, a reminder of why Raekwon was one of the most respected figures in hip-hop. Only Built for Cuban Links, PT. I was more than just a nostalgia trip, it was a statement. Raekwon had faced numerous challenges throughout his career, but he had never lost his passion for making music. The album was a testament to his resilience, his dedication to his craft, and his ability to adapt and thrive in an ever-changing industry. Raekwon's journey through the 2000s was marked by both setbacks and triumphs. While he faced criticism and challenges with his solo projects, he never wavered in his commitment to his art or his loyalty to the Wu-Tang Clan. He continued to push himself creatively, always striving to create music that was true to his experiences and reflective of his growth as an artist. As the decade came to a close, Raekwon was once again in a position of strength, with only built 4 Cuban links. PT. Reminding the world of his talent and his importance to hip-hop. The challenges he faced only made his successes that much more meaningful, and Raekwon's story was far from over. As the 2010s began, Raekwon was in a strong position, having successfully navigated the challenges of the previous decade. The release of only built 4 Cuban links, PT. had reaffirmed his status as one of hip-hop's most respected voices, and he was determined to continue pushing his creative boundaries. But as the industry evolved, so did Raekwon, finding new ways to expand his influence and legacy beyond just music. After the success of only built 4 Cuban links, PT. Raekwon continued to release music that showcases lyrical prowess and storytelling ability. In 2011, he dropped Shellin' V's Wu-Tang, an album that was initially conceived as a Wu-Tang Clan project but eventually became a solo effort. The album was a return to the classic Wu-Tang sound, filled with hard-hitting beats and sharp lyrics. It featured collaborations with both Wu-Tang members and other artists, including Nas and Rick Ross. The album was well received by fans and critics, further solidifying Raekwon's place in the pantheon of hip-hop greats. Shaolin V's Wu-Tang was a thematic exploration of Raekwon's roots, paying homage to the martial arts influences that had always been a part of the Wu-Tang aesthetic. The album's title referred to the fictional rivalry between Shaolin and Wu-Tang, a theme that resonated with Raekwon's own journey of balancing loyalty to his group with his ambitions as a solo artist. The project was another example of Raekwon's ability to craft cohesive, narrative-driven albums that went beyond just music. But Raekwon wasn't content to rest on his laurels. He understood that the music industry was changing rapidly, and he wanted to explore new avenues for his creativity. This led him to venture into different fields, including fashion, entrepreneurship, and acting. Raekwon's ventures outside of music were not just about expanding his brand, they were about expressing different facets of his artistic vision. In 2014, Raekwon launched his own line of clothing called Ice H2O, named after his record label. The brand reflected Raekwon's style and personality, combining streetwear aesthetics with a luxury twist. The venture was a natural extension of Raekwon's persona, as fashion had always been an important part of hip-hop culture. Through Ice H2O, Raekwon was able to connect with fans in a new way, offering them a chance to embody the lifestyle that his music represented. Around the same time, Raekwon also began to explore acting. His natural charisma and storytelling ability made him a perfect fit for the screen, and he appeared in several films and television shows. While these roles were often small, they allowed Raekwon to flex his creative muscles in a new medium. His performances were well received, and they added another dimension to his already multifaceted career. In addition to fashion and acting, Raekwon also focused on mentoring the next generation of hip-hop artists. He understood the importance of passing on his knowledge and experience to those who were coming up in the industry. Through his record label, Ice H2O Records, Raekwon signed and developed new talent, helping to shape the future of hip-hop. His mentorship was not just about business, it was about preserving the culture and ensuring that the next wave of artists stayed true to the art form. As Raekwon's career continued, he remained an active member of the Wu-Tang Clan, participating in their group projects and tours. The clan's influence on hip-hop was undeniable, and their continued success was a testament to the strength of their brotherhood. Raekwon's loyalty to the group was unwavering, even as he pursued his own projects. This balance between solo work and group loyalty was a defining characteristic of Raekwon's career, and it played a significant role in his enduring relevance. In 2015, the Wu-Tang Clan released Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, an album that would go down in history for its unconventional release. Only one copy of the album was produced, and it was sold at auction for a reported $2 million. The album's release was a statement about the value of music as art, and it sparked a global conversation about the commercialization of hip-hop. While the project was controversial, it demonstrated the Clan's ability to innovate and challenge the status quo, even decades into their career. Raekwon continued to release solo albums throughout the 2010s, each one showcasing his growth as an artist. In 2017, he released The Wild, an album that reflected his observations on the state of the world and the industry. The album was a departure from his previous work, with Raekwon exploring new sounds and themes. It was another example of his willingness to take risks and push himself creatively, even after decades in the game. Throughout his later career, Raekwon maintained a relentless work ethic, always striving to stay ahead of the curve. He understood that longevity in hip-hop required constant reinvention, and he embraced the challenge. His ability to adapt and evolve while staying true to his roots was a key factor in his continued success. But beyond the music, Raekwon's influence could be felt in the broader culture. He had become more than just a rapper, he was a cultural icon, a symbol of resilience and creativity. His ventures outside of music, whether in fashion, acting, or mentorship, were all extensions of his artistic vision. Raekwon had built a legacy that went beyond just his albums. He had created a brand, a persona, and a movement that resonated with fans across the globe. As Raekwon moved into the next phase of his career, he remained focused on his mission to create, to innovate, and to inspire. He understood that his influence extended far beyond the music industry, and he was determined to use that influence to make a positive impact. Whether through his music, his ventures, or his mentorship, Raekwon continued to push the boundaries of what it meant to be an artist in the 21st century. As Raekwon's career continued into the late 2010s and beyond, his influence on the hip-hop world became more apparent with each passing year. His work, both as a solo artist and as a member of the Wu-Tang Clan, had left an indelible mark on the genre, inspiring a new generation of rappers and producers who looked to Raekwon as a pioneer of lyrical storytelling and gritty, cinematic production. Raekwon's legacy is deeply rooted in his ability to craft vivid, detailed narratives that resonated with listeners on a personal level. His debut album, Only Built 4 Cuban Links, is often cited as one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, and its influence can be seen in the work of countless artists who followed in his footsteps. The album's mafioso rap theme, which blended street realism with elements of crime fiction, set a new standard for conceptual rap albums and inspired a wave of similar projects throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s. Artists such as Jay-Z, Nas, and the notorious B.I.G. have all acknowledged the impact of Raekwon's work on their own music. Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt and Nas's It Was Written both draw heavily on the mafioso themes that Raekwon popularized, while the notorious B.I.G's Life After Death expanded on the cinematic storytelling approach that Raekwon perfected. Raekwon's influence extended beyond just thematic content. His intricate wordplay, complex rhyme schemes, and ability to paint a picture with his lyrics became a blueprint for aspiring rappers who sought to elevate their craft. As the years went on, Raekwon continued to evolve as an artist, never content to rest on his laurels. His later albums, including Only Built 4 Cuban Links, P.T., I, and The Wild, showcased his growth and adaptability, proving that he could still innovate and stay relevant in an ever-changing industry. These albums also introduced Raekwon's music to a new generation of listeners who may have been too young to experience his earlier work in real time. In addition to his solo career, Raekwon's contributions to the Wu-Tang Clan have had a profound and lasting impact on the group's legacy. The Wu-Tang Clan is often hailed as one of the most influential hip-hop groups of all time, and Raekwon's role within the group was crucial to their success. His distinctive voice, unique perspective, and lyrical prowess helped to define the group's sound and set them apart from their peers. Tracks like CREAM and Triumph, where Raekwon's verses stood out, remain iconic in the Wu-Tang discography. The Wu-Tang Clan's influence extends far beyond music. They have become a cultural phenomenon, with their brand recognized around the world. Raekwon's contributions to this legacy cannot be overstated. The group's impact on fashion, film, and pop culture is immense, and Raekwon's involvement in these ventures has helped to cement the Wu-Tang Clan's place in the annals of hip-hop history. As new artists emerged on the scene, many cited Raekwon as a major influence on their work. Artists like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Action Bronson have all mentioned Raekwon as a source of inspiration, particularly in terms of storytelling and lyrical depth. Kendrick Lamar, known for his own conceptual albums and narrative-driven lyrics, has spoken about how albums like Only Built for Cuban Links shaped his approach to making music. Beyond his influence on individual artists, Raekwon's impact on the broader hip-hop culture is undeniable. The themes and styles he popularized have become staples of the genre, and his commitment to authenticity and artistic integrity continues to resonate with fans and artists alike. Raekwon's legacy is one of innovation, resilience, and a deep connection to the roots of hip-hop. In 2019, Raekwon celebrated the 25th anniversary of Only Built for Cuban Links, with a special tour performing the album in its entirety to sold-out crowds. The tour was a testament to the album's enduring appeal and its significance in hip-hop history. Fans of all ages came out to see Raekwon perform, many of them experiencing the album live for the first time. The tour also highlighted how Raekwon's music has transcended generations, continuing to inspire and captivate audiences decades after its release. As Raekwon looked toward the future, he remained focused on his mission to create meaningful art that speaks to the realities of life. He continued to work on new music, collaborate with other artists, and explore new ventures outside of the recording studio. Raekwon's journey is far from over, and his contributions to hip-hop are ongoing. He has proven time and again that he is not only a survivor in the music industry but a true innovator and visionary. Raekwon's legacy is one of profound influence, not just within the realm of hip-hop, but across the cultural landscape. His work has touched the lives of millions, offering a voice to the voiceless and shining a light on the stories that might otherwise go untold. Through his music, Raekwon has built a bridge between the past and the present, connecting generations of hip-hop fans and artists with his timeless artistry. As the story of Raekwon continues to unfold, one thing is certain: his impact on hip-hop is lasting and immeasurable. From the streets of Staten Island to the world stage, Raekwon's journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, creativity, and staying true to oneself. His legacy will continue to inspire future generations, ensuring that the chef's voice remains a guiding force in the world of hip-hop for years to come.